A Winnebago dealership offers 15-year mortgages of their RVs at 8.25% interest. You can afford to have monthly payments of no more than $550. What is the most expensive RV you can purchase under these conditions? Well, here I'm going to write out the mortgage formula. The monthly payment, that's going to be equal to M, how much money you are mortgaging, times 1 plus the interest rate over 12 raised to the 12y power times the interest rate over 12 all over 1 plus r over 12 to the 12y power, take away 1. Well, here it says you have a 15-year mortgage. So here our y is going to be 15 years. Here the interest rate is 8.25%. I'm going to move the decimal point 2 places to the left, so here our R needs to be 0.0825. And how much money you're mortgaging, M, usually the third variable in this formula, you're trying to figure out what's the most expensive RV you can purchase. Here the monthly payment, you want no more than $550. So I'm going to set my monthly payment equal to $550. And then I'm going to set up an equation to solve for how much money I can mortgage. So here I'm going to have the monthly payment, which is $550. That equals M, how much money we're mortgaging, so I'm going to call that X, times 1 plus 0.0825 over 12, raised to the 12 times Y. In this case, 12 times 15th power, because we're doing a 15-year mortgage, times r over 12, so times 0.0825 over 12, all over, we have another 1 plus r over 12, so 1 plus 0.0825 over 12, raised to the 12y, 12 times 15th power, take away 1. And we're going to go about solving this equation for x, how much money we can mortgage. We're going to solve this graphically. So I'm going to set y1 of my calculator equal to 550. I'm going to set this mess of a right-hand side into y2, and then I'm going to look for the point of intersection of those two sides. And to set up the viewing window, here's what I'm going to do. I'm graphing y1 is equal to $550. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my y max to be a little bit bigger than 550. So here I'm going to set my y max to be 600. So I'm going to graph from 0 to 600 for my y's to find this point of intersection. The problem is the x's, in this case, represent how much money we're trying to mortgage, which represents the price of this Winnebago, which is one of those RVs. I don't know how expensive of an RV I can afford. I know some of these things can be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what I'll do is I'll set my X max to be $300,000. And as long as the price of the Winnebago is in between the two values that you chose for your X min and your X max, you're going to be okay. You can even open up the viewing window more for the Ys. I went to 600. Maybe what I'll do is I'll go up to 1,000 for my Y max. And all I'm looking for again is the point of intersection of these two sides of the equation. Couple things to note, just be careful when you enter in your right-hand side of the equation due to the limited graphing technology that your calculator has. It's going to give you a hard time to be able to see the entire equation. So if you just move the cursor up to the numerator, you'll be able to see what you typed in for your numerator, and then if you move the cursor down to the denominator, you'll be able to see that as well. Here's my viewing window that I described before, and because this side of the equation is so involved mathematically, it might take your calculator about half a minute to actually go about calculating and graphing these two lines. But here it looks like my X value, I can afford a $56,692.83 Winnebago and still be able to have these payments of being $550 a month. So there's my answer for this first one, $56,692.83. Problem 2, your dream home is for sale for $600,000. You can afford mortgage payments, not including school taxes, of no more than $3,000 per month. By how much does the home need to be decreased so that you can afford the mortgage payment if the bank is giving you a 30-year mortgage at 4.99% interest? So here the question that's being asked is, how much does the home need to be decreased? So they're basically telling you within this question that you can't afford a $600,000 house. You need to try to figure out the price of the house that you can afford with this $3,000 a month limitation, and then we'll try to figure out how much the house has to be lowered. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about finding the M value, the amount of money I need to mortgage in the mortgage formula. So here I'm going to have the monthly payment. That's equal to the M times 1 plus R over 12 to the 12y power times R over 12 all over the 1 plus R over 12 to the 12y power, take away 1. Here my M is going to be my X. So my interest rate R is 4.99%, so R is 0.0499. Here for a house, they're telling us that we're having a 30-year mortgage, so I'm going to plug in Y is equal to 30. And here the monthly payment, we want it to be no more than $3,000. So I'm going to plug in the monthly payment is $3,000 and figure out how much money we can mortgage with that $3,000 a month limitation in mind. So here I'm going to have M, which is X, times 1 plus my 0.0499 over 12, raised to the 12 times Y, so in this case 12 times 30th power, times another R over 12, times 0.0499 over 12, all over, again the 1 plus 0.0499 over 12, raised to the 12 times 30th power, take away 1. So I'm going to go about solving this equation graphically. I'm going to enter the left-hand side of the equation into y1, the right-hand side of the equation into y2, and I'm going to try to figure out what the point of intersection of those two sides is. Here, since I'm graphing y1 is equal to 3,000, what I'll do for my y's is I'll graph from 0 to 4,000 to make sure that that 3,000 fits on the screen. And here, as far as the x goes, we're trying to figure out how expensive of a mortgage, how expensive of a house we can afford with this $3,000 a month payment. The question implies that you can't afford a $600,000. You can't afford that expensive of a house. So I know the house that you can afford has to be worth less than $600,000. So maybe what I'll do for my x's is I'll graph from 0 to 600,000, because the question implies that you can't afford that $600,000 house. You can only afford a house that's less than that. So I know the price of the house, the X, the amount of money that I can mortgage, has to be less than $600,000. So that's why I'm using this particular viewing window for this question. Once again, you have to exhibit some patience when you have your calculator going about graphing, in particular that right-hand side of the equation. And if your calculator is able to graph this for you, I would say wait at most 30 seconds. If it's still giving you the waiting symbol on your calculator, press second and on to stop it from graphing, and then try to regraph it and calculate your point of intersection that way. If all else fails, my advice then would be to actually clear out this y2, clear out the right-hand side of the equation, and retype it in. Sometimes if you leave off a decimal point or a 0, it'll affect how long it takes to graph. So here it looks like the M that you can afford with that payment per month of $3,000, it looks like here you can afford payments of, or a mortgage of $559,481.63. So that's how much of a mortgage you can afford at this interest rate and still not go over the $3,000 a month payment. But that's not what the question was asking. The question asked, how much does the home have to be decreased? Well, since the house is on sale for $600,000 and you can only afford this much, $559,481.63, all I'm going to do is subtract those two values to figure out how much the house has to be decreased. And here's the answer to the question: $40,518.37. That's how much the house price has to be lowered in order for you to keep that payment under $3,000 a month. You wish to purchase a new Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz offers financing at 6 years at 4.99% interest. You can afford payments of $800 a month. What is the most expensive Mercedes-Benz you can afford with this limitation? So here, once again, I'm going to write out my formula. My payment is equal to M, the amount of money that you're mortgaging, times 1 plus R over 12 raised to the 12y power, times R over 12, all over 1 plus R over 12 to the 12y power, take away 1. Here our R, our interest rate, is 4.99%, so here our R is 0.0499. Here they're financing for 6 years, so here our Y is going to be 6. This is common for cars. They don't give you 30-year mortgages because cars don't last that long. And here we're going to plug in the payment is going to be $800 a month, and our goal is going to be to figure out what our M value should be. So here we're going to have the payment of $800 a month equals M, which is X, times 1 plus 0.0499 over 12, raised to the 12 times y, in this case 12 times 6th power, times another 0.0499 over 12, all over 1 plus 0.0499 over 12, raised to the 12 times 6 power again, take away 1. And we're going to set up our calculator. The left-hand side is y1, the right-hand side is y2, and find the point of intersection. Here is the viewing window I'm choosing to use. Graphing y1 is equal to 800, so I'm going to set my y max a little bigger than 800, so I'm going to set it equal to 1,000. And as far as how expensive of a car we can afford, what is our X going to be? Well, I know some of these cars can be rather expensive. I'm just looking for the point of intersection, so precision is not as important as it is in other word problems. So here I'll look for up to a $100,000 car. So this is the viewing window which I'm using to graph this. Again, when you do these questions, always double check to make sure that you have the details entered correctly into your calculator. Even a random decimal point or missing a number can throw these questions tremendously off. So it looks like for $800 a month, you can afford a $49,688.53 automobile.